Today's video will be about a shocking case of murder victim who was stalked and then buried alive by her ex-boyfriend. Jasmeen Kaur, 21-year-old, originally from Tarikjot in Sungarur, India, had been living with her relatives in Adelaide and was working as an aged care worker while studying to become a nurse. Nearly a month before Kaur was murdered, Kaur had filed a police report stating that her ex-boyfriend was stalking her. In a statement signed on January 28, 2021, Ms. Kaur said she had been in a controlling relationship with Tarikjotsingh of Kuralta Park, 23, originally from Balala village in Samrala, India, for about 9 months. He was overpossessive and wanted to control who she spent time with. She had ended the relationship on January 4, 2021, but Singh didn't take this well. He stated that I had to be with him or if not, he would attempt suicide, she said. During their relationship, she said Singh had sometimes got upset when she made plans to go out with friends and would call her and demand she go home. The day after the pair split, Ms. Kaur said she was working an afternoon shift as a carer at a Southern Cross care home in North Plympton when she sighted Singh through a window. She went outside during her break, and he pleaded with her not to end the relationship. Singh again threatened suicide, so she called a friend of his to check on him. When I ended my shift at 9 p.m. I went outside and found Tarikjot in his car affected by some type of drug, she said. She said Singh's friend took him to hospital and she was given a suicide letter in which Singh blamed her family for the downfall of their relationship. The following day, on January 6, 2021, Singh and a member of his family arrived at the home she shared with her aunt in a bid to convince her to come with them. Ms. Kaur outlined how Singh had played TikTok videos to her family of the couple in a hotel room to diminish her reputation. The next day, Singh again returned to her workplace and waited near her car for her to finish her shift. Ms. Kaur said she ignored him and left, but he followed me in his car all the way home. When I got home he kept going, but I didn't feel safe or comfortable with what he was doing, she told police. On the day she gave her statement, Ms. Kaur said her very distressed and upset mother, who lived in India, had called her because Singh had sent her the videos of the former couple. Police cautioned Singh for stalking on February 9, 2021. A month later, on the evening of March 5, 2021, Singh again attended her workplace and abducted her. Ms. Kaur, a carer and student, was last seen alive when she worked a shift at an Adelaide nursing home on March 5 before being reported missing the next day. Singh was supposed to work an overnight shift at a southern suburbs pub on the night Ms. Kaur was abducted, but his housemate worked the shift instead. The day before he murdered Ms. Kaur, Singh downloaded a map of security camera locations in Adelaide. Singh had also swapped cars with his flatmate and used that vehicle to drive to Ms. Kaur's workplace where he abducted her. Singh is seen in a CCTV footage casually strolling through a hardware store buying a shovel, cable ties, gaffer tape, gloves and a jerry can in the hours before carrying out his callous crime. In another security footage on the evening of March 5 shows Singh heading north, with Ms. Kaur out of sight, allegedly being either restrained in the back seat or in trunk. Singh had put his phone's SIM card into another handset, swapping it back upon his return home from the Flinders Ranges about 6 p.m. on March 6, 2021. He was at home that evening when police came to ask him about Ms. Kaur's whereabouts. When questioned by police following the incident, Singh initially denied knowing anything about where she was. Singh, of Kuralta Park, was initially charged with failing to notify police of a reportable death. He later made admissions to an aunt, then told police Ms. Kaur had taken her own life and he had buried her in the Flinders Ranges, north of Hawker. Ms. Kaur was callously murdered and buried in the Flinders Ranges that night. He led police to the site on March 7, who found Ms. Kaur buried under 30 centimeters of sand. Her hands tied together with a cable tie behind her back, her feet taped and cable tied together, and she was blindfolded, and her throat had been cut, but those wounds were found to be superficial. She had also inhaled and swallowed soil. She was buried while she was conscious and died from actively breathing in and swallowing soil. Singh initially pleaded not guilty to murdering Ms. Kaur, but changed his plea a month before his Supreme Court trial was due to start in March 2023. Justice Adam Kimber ordered Singh serve a non-parole period of 22 years and 10 months, which is only slightly longer than the mandatory minimum non-parole period for murder in South Australia of 20 years. In handing down the sentence, Justice Adam Kimber said the killing was horrific and callous in the extreme and that he could not find words to describe the terror of her final moments. Singh will be aged in his early 40s when he becomes eligible to apply for parole in January 2044. The drive to her murder site was of several hours. Throughout that trip, Ms. Kaur must have been terrified. He didn't care, dug a grave and buried her while she was still alive. Singh wrote several messages, which he never ended up sending, to Ms. Kaur in the days leading up to her death. They included statements such as, "Your bad luck that I am still alive, cheap, wait and watch, will get the answer, each and every single one will get the answer, and deep inside what I feel but can't get over." Singh, an Indian national who came to Australia to study IT at university and who had also been working as a respite carer, will be deported when he is released from jail.